Good morning to day 196. Beautiful Barbados. Don't forget, please, like and subscribe even. Like and subscribe, what does that mean? Shirley, thanks for sharing yesterday. Much appreciated. Thanks for the comments, there were quite a few yesterday. Thank you very much. Again, any suggestions? If you guys have been doing this before and you're seeing things that we're not doing at the moment, please feel free to comment. I'm either forgetting something, not aware of something. And there's always a way of doing something better than someone else. So if we can improve and add value, why not? Today the main thing for me is I can't be here all day today, but I definitely want to make sure we get these windows sorted. The windows themselves should be quite straightforward. They should go in, they should shut nicely, and then you fix them, they should shut nicely, and then you're meant to add glass, and sometimes you get a bit of problems when you add glass, but we're getting problems full stop. But as I saw yesterday, I measured this window and balanced this window myself. The bottom is plumb. The window, to a certain extent, from backwards and forwards, is reasonably plumb, but the window frame is actually been driven right, as you can see at the top, the gap at the top compared to the gap at the bottom. I put the laser on it and it's completely bent over, but he's done that purposely because he wants to try and get the window shutting. So what I'm going to want him to do when he gets in today, unfortunately, is to take that whole window apart and start again. I want to put the laser on it, both sideways and both forward and back ways. I want to make sure the actual window itself is straight and plumb. And off the back of it being plumb, I want to start again and make sure we try and get it shutting with absolutely no resistance at all. If we're getting resistance, then I want to literally start again. I want to make sure we carry on until we get no resistance. That's the main aim for the windows today. So he's just turned up now, so I'm going to have a good chat with him about the difference between Bayesian windows and English windows, and just see if there's something that we would normally do that they wouldn't normally do. So from my point of view, it's just making sure that anything to do with the toe and heeling and the packing is done right. Here, I don't see that they use a great deal of packers, whereas packers in England, they used heavily, and we also use fixer foam as well. So a friend of mine said yesterday, I think I might have sorry if I'm repeating myself, but a friend of mine said yesterday what he does is gets the actual the window in straight, gets it plumb, and then fixer foams all the way around and lets that go off, and then the window's then held in place. Then he starts looking at balancing it left and right, forward and backwards, putting packers in and putting screws in. He said just the fixer foam obviously gives an insulation, it holds it in place, but obviously because it's foam, it can go left and right, forward and backwards, and it just helps the window stay where it needs to be. But again, he says, packers everywhere, every screw you put in, there's all sorts of packers around it, and then you laser the level, make sure the window frame stays completely on the laser line. But at the moment, I did the laser line yesterday, and not only is the window going over, which is purposely done, but also there's a couple of screws, for instance, where there's a screw put in, and there's the frame is bending in the middle. So I don't know why the frame's doing that, because the screw's not even tight, but as you tighten one screw at the top, it pulls the frame in down below further, which is quite strange. So that would lead me to believe that there's something wrong with the frame, so we would need to put a packer there to make sure that stops. So I want to make sure that the frames are completely plumb, and then if we've got a hinge issue, if the door is struggling to shut through the hinge, then I'd rather start with the hinges itself and try and get the hinge brought over to try and bring the window up. At the top, I'd rather bring the window over to try and bring the bottom over, if that makes any sense. So the window is technically twisting. It might be that the window isn't straight. So either way, I want to go try and get that sorted today, because the windows have got to go in completely perfect. And at the moment, we're having to do something you wouldn't normally do to get the window to shut, and that's just not right. Okay, what's the plan for today? There's some more scratch coating going on today. The guys are removing some of the actual rods. We had obviously the door frames here, where then all plastered white yesterday all the way around, so we're going to take the beads off of that today. There's a couple of things I can see that haven't been done right, that might be a little bit of an issue when we take them off, so we'll have a look at those. There's a few cracks as well that I can see. They're going to have to obviously be fixed and rubbed in. And we've got to get the front columns sorted out as well. So the columns at the front are meant to be completely white all the way around, and they started them but didn't finish it yesterday. They've managed to do the return here, but they haven't done the fascias. This is not going to be done for now. Again, no fascia done here. Again, they've done the sides here, but again, you go a bit further on, they haven't even done the return. So that return's not been done. That one has, that hasn't. Both of those haven't. This one was boxed up yesterday, so we're going to remove that and see how that's gone. But again, we've got to get that done, and we've got to get that done. And on this side, it's just that done. And then what I've got to try and do today is also analyse this as well from a depth point of view. So I want to get the actual threshold in there and see what sort of height we've got. We might have to put a bit of level lay in there just to try and, one, give it a good surface. And two, obviously I want to make sure that the threshold is level with the actual floor that's in here. And hopefully we've gone a little bit higher than we need to be, because obviously we're going to then create a flow at the front for the water to fall onto and run away from. These were meant to be flush and flat, but this one was completely ballsed up. But either way, we can still get the threshold in here. So it's just some level lay in here, the rubber surface, the threshold all the way along siliconed in, and then obviously we need a height that allows the water to drip out of the nose of the threshold onto this, then drips away. So I'm going to analyse that in a minute just to make sure that actually works. We've got to cut that back, obviously. That was a bit of conduit that was put in there to hold the original bit of wood at the height it needed to be. We've got a few of those. We've got one here. I think there's one over here as well, and we've still got to remove that steel as well. So that's pretty much where we are so far. Today's going to be pretty much windows and thresholds. Got some cracks on here we've got to get sorted out as well, so we'll get that done. We've still got to land up working out what's got to be boxed up and what's not going to be boxed up. The electricians and the plumbers are the ones that come along and make carnage. So I need them to finish their carnage, one, so we can get the mess sorted out, and two, we can start backfilling of some of the holes they're creating everywhere. Why the plumber's done that all the way along now, I've got absolutely no idea. Absolutely no idea. And at the end of the day, this was meant to be poured, so why they're all empty, I do not know. That's something I need to obviously look at. And obviously I need the plasterboard guy to come and start plasterboarding. So I need to know what walls he can start plasterboarding, because at the moment he's not laid a sheet yet. And there must be a reason. So we've got to plane down the 2x4s and get them on the walls. He's saying you can't get them on the walls, so the guy's finished their electrics. He needs to know where he's going to be putting the drops. So at the moment, for instance, that one there's a perfect example. It's been bent from there to there. If he started here and put a batten up and then did another one 14 inches, 16 inches, he'd be going straight for this conduit. So once they've actually finished doing their wall work, then he can start plasterboarding, but I can't afford for them to hold him up a lot longer. So I should be looking to them this morning to try and get a plan about where they are and what can now allow the drywall guys to do, because at the moment he's not here because there's nothing for him to do. So I need him to crack on. So let's see how that goes.